welcome back. And if you just joined us, you're still on to Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's have our conversation for today. After the tragic suicide of a 19-year-old girl in Lagos, identified by neighbors as Temileyin fate, mental health professionals are urging a more robust support system for students dealing with exam-related stress. Temileyin, originally from Abeokuta in Ogun State and residing with her older sibling in Ikorodu, reportedly took her life after scoring 190 in the 2025 UTME, and an outcome she felt was worse than her previous year's results. Described by locals as a quiet and promising young woman, her death has sparked outrage in the community. Many residents blamed the examination board for contributing to the pressure that led to her action, while experts in mental health called for urgent attention to the emotional well-being of students. Michael Jacob, a psychotherapist and the founder of Emotion Compass Academy, stressed that academic results should not define a person's value rather. He warned against linking academic shortcomings with intelligence and urged students to seek help instead of suffering alone. Psychologist Patricia Udoesen echoed this, pointing to the immense stress that exams place on young people. She highlighted the psychological impact of unmet expectations and encouraged students to find healthy outlets for their emotions and not be afraid to ask for support. She also appealed to parents to show compassion and provide emotional stability during these critical times. Clinical psychologist Hamid Latifat added that society must begin to treat failure as a normal aspect of life, not a defining moment. Amid backlash from the public, especially from concerned parents and students, the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board Jamb said it would re-evaluate the 2025 UTME results. According to the spokesperson, Fabian Benjamin, the board is fast tracking its annual system audit to address the high volume of complaints that followed the release of the results. That's what we have today. Now let's get talking. And I have with me an eloquence of lawyers. Of course, still with us is Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid. Thank you so very much for hanging on. We truly do appreciate it once more.
I am privileged to be with you.
Thank you so very much. And joining us right now is Barrister Ufeli, Barrister, Law Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you so very much, Barrister. For being
Very
here.
well. Thank you very much.
Yes. So I would love to start with you, Barrister. Particularly, you threatened to file a suit against the Jamb.
Yes.
Right. So I want you to bring us up to speed. It's close to 2 days now. It's been raging all over social media and across traditional media. What are we having today?
Yeah, we're filing a fundamental right enforcement suit today. In fact, I speak to you, the filing is ongoing. Fundamental right enforcement suit does not require pre-action notice by the rules, not compulsory. You can do that for surplusage, but it's not compulsory. So even though we had a notice in the newspaper and all that where we shared why we are doing this, we're not doing this to vilify Jamb or to cast aspersion on anyone. We're doing this as a watchdog of society. Because if institutions are failing, systemic failures here and there, and the citizens who are supposed to be watchdog are not doing what they ought to do, we may wake up one day, Jamb will call, fix a date for exam, and when students get there, they will say there's no exam if we don't do what we're doing now. And it's critical. Yesterday, I had so many calls, over 80 calls. Someone is tracking the calls for me of different issues. You know, the set that annoy us the most is the one that has to do with the underage. Okay, you conducted an exam, they registered for the exam. Even you had some landmarks for them separately, that those who are underage must score 300 and above. After they do that, they will still go and sit for an exam with the Ministry of Education. They will do this, they will do that, and all that to show that they are ready for. I mean, if you look at the Child Rights Act, that's discrimination. Because in the Child Rights Act, it's clearly stated that no child shall be discriminated against. Okay? And when you look at the turnout, one of the students who parents called yesterday talked about the fact that the son went to check, and what you have there is underage, no result. What Jamb should understand is that if you feel a student is underage, then you don't need to open the portal for them. There's no point registering.
But I thought we had concluded that the former Minister of Education, of course, had said that he would not allow for less than 18 years of students to sit for Jamb. And we all asked him to forget about that. So why is Jamb still making it difficult?
That is the Minister for, but our focus here have always been the Minister for Education. He has little or nothing in this issue. The Registrar of Jamb, okay, that's the person we should be calling out on this issue, because they are the one that make the policy for the purpose of this exam, not the Ministry of Education. The policy is from the Registrar of Jamb itself. Okay, so now when a child sits for that exam, okay, it is not necessarily that this child want to get into the university at that age. Some of them are still in secondary school. They only want to try and see what they can score, to see their mark, their intellectual prowess, preparedness, and standing before that exam. So when they now write that exam, you don't show them the results. What does it mean? I mean, so the time, the money spent, effort, and everything is wasted. It is wrong and it's injustice. So we are doing this in the interest of justice. That if a child is qualified to register for an exam, he should be qualified to see the result of that exam, to know whether he's doing well or doing badly. And that is what we should. Now, this lady that just took her life, this is actually avoidable. There's a case of a lady that scored 267 or thereabouts last year, okay? And she wrote the exam this year and scored 155. Yes. Okay, so there's a technical systemic breakdown somewhere. First, the outcome was such that you took the children through so many harrowing experiences. You asked them to come by 6 a.m. Many of them got by 6 a.m. The exam didn't start up until 3 p.m. So you asked them to come early. Some of them are even missing and the rest of that. So at the end of the day, what Jamb tested was not the intellection or the intellectual prowess of the students, but the ability to absorb stress, chaos, and the rest of that. And these children were not prepared for chaos. They were not prepared that on the day, what they'll be testing them on is their ability to withstand chaos. They were told, and the objective of Jamb is that they'll be testing them on their capacity to qualify for tertiary education and nothing more. So if on the day of that exam you now present something else to them, you are testing their capacity on different areas of life that is not connected to academics, we're asking the court to set aside that exam.
All right. Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, I'd love to ask you, apart from the fundamental human rights suit by Barrister Ufeli on Jamb, we have about 8,900 students that are preparing to file for class action, yet again against the Jamb. I'd love you to speak to this matter. How do you think this would possibly get the attention of Jamb? Would a class action get the attention of Jamb?
In fact, without even the class action, the Jamb is already giving attention, because contrary to the position of the Jamb registrar, wherein he was trying to defend the results, saying that this is not the first time. In fact, this is one of the best results so far. He was trying to defend that. He has also called for a meeting to review the results. So indirectly, he's agreeing that there are things to be looked into. So he's already using the reading results. So it shows that when we put pressure on the people in the authority, sometimes that means they will give up, and then they will give to whatever we're asking for. So in the case, if people have been doing this before now, when your right is infringed, you go to court and challenge it, whether you're going to win or not. They know that this number of people will go to court or this and that, they will sit tight and do the right thing. But because they know people will not even challenge it, people will not even ask questions, and people will even justify what is happening, and that's why they are doing that. I begin to think and say, I hear this issue of the students are not serious, this and that. Yes, to an extent, everybody has a blame. The student, the parents, everybody has a blame. But what we're saying here is that you as Jamb, have you done the right thing? Have you done your own part to be able to shift blame to anybody? Did you do the right thing? Just like Evan said, they have I think they've done the right thing by going to court and to say, if you can allow me to sit for exam, why can't you allow me to see my results? The fact that you are giving me results does not mean I must enter university. So even if you give me results, it's a different ball game for admission. Whether I'll get admission or not, it's a different ball game. But I must have my results. If I have my results and I want to present it for admission, the school cannot say you are not qualified because you have not the age. They buy you from a qualification. So there are two different things. If you can collect my money for exam, you must be able to give me my results. When you are collecting the money, when you allow me to register, you did not say I am underage, therefore I can't register. You allow me pay money. You allow me do exam, travel from one place to another, or even do the struggle. And then thereafter you say you will not give me my results. The result is to prepare, just like you said, is for some of them to be prepared towards the next one. And some of them, even before the next admission, they will have been they will have met the required age. So I think Jamb should do the right thing by ensuring that look, proper things are done. And again, I hear this story of news, or is it me that is not current, of a special center or when it comes to Jamb and the WAEC or something. And I begin to ask myself questions.
Well, that's for WAEC, barrister. That's for WAEC, not Jamb. Yeah.
No, they say so as well in Jamb, that there's special center. I begin to map, even for Jamb, okay, let's even assume it is WAEC. In our exam, in national exam, what is special center? I begin to ask myself those questions. What is special question? Who designed that center as special? Why is it special? And if it's special, if it's fraudulently organized, how do they get a question paper? How do they examine them in that area? Who send the question paper to the center? So because I hear them give excuses. So you see some of these people who go and register in special center, and they will now do all the sort of manipulation. They will now say they score well. We are trying to cure those situations. So I don't know who approved that center as special center. I don't know how exam questions are taken to those centers. I don't know who are the one invigilating. So we need to do a lot in our education to ensure that proper things are done. Once we have a proper thing on ground, we'll get proper results. As it is today, the things are not working well. Jamb is derailing. I have been one of the few people who have been saying it. I do not see why Jamb should be remitting money to federal government. I do not see any justification. I do not see it. It shows that they are collecting more than they need from the people. Jamb is not to raise money. It's not a generation money. People are now saying, yeah, you see, this man is a very good man because people now are not. That's not the point. The point is that should Jamb be generating money? The Jamb is not for money generation. So now they focus more on money generation than even the exam itself. And that's one of the problems we're having, because somebody want to score political goal by saying that he has remitted also amount of money to Jamb, and therefore this is this. How can Jamb be remitting billions? It shows that you are collecting more than what you need. We need to also review that area.
All right.
So we need to challenge all these activities for us to have where we're going to. People who are doing Jamb are Nigerians. We need to. Some of them are even indigents. Then you now squeeze them, get more money from them, and go and give it to politicians who will use it to buy car, and they buy private jets and furnish their houses. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Very true, Barrister. Barrister Ufeli, I would love to ask you this. Don't you think the right suit here should be an outright cancellation of Jamb? And I have my reasons to that. If a Nigerian wants to seek for admission in Oxford or Cambridge, all you need to do is get to your phone, apply, you have all the requisite stuff, and they check on it. They give you admission from anywhere in the world. So why should we have Jamb? Is it necessary?
No, we also have pre-qualifying examinations in other places of the world. Like United States, for example, you write SAT, SAT. The SAT exam pre-qualifies you for undergraduate admission, okay, which is a standard exam. Okay, so I mean, having an exam that pre-qualifies students for tertiary institution is not a bad thing, for me, my own estimation. But I think that the exam must be conducted in ways that will show transparency and fairness for all involved. You don't say that some student, because they are underage, they should go and score 300 plus and go and write another exam again. Failure, if they don't score up to 300, then you say no result underage. You don't do that. It's unfair and unjust, especially when there's a Child Right Act that says you should not discriminate against children, okay? And the issue further is that if you want to test student intellection, focus on intellection. If you want to test their ability for stunt making, somersaulting, stress absorption, everything. Let's know. But what we know is that the objective of Jamb is to test student preparedness, capacity for tertiary education. And if you now have an exam, you are not doing that thing, that exam, the result, the outcome should be set aside. And they should conduct another one. Okay?
Given
Now,
the cost of doing this, do you think
it does not
it's
matter.
possible?
It does not matter the cost of. They are declaring billions for federal. You heard them. I mean, Basatunji said that we've read it in the newspaper where they are generating money for the federal government. I don't know what it's meant for. I mean, a Jamb is not MPA. They are not a tax collection or revenue collection. They are an examination body. So generating money for federal government does not go hand in hand with education. So let's be factual. I mean, these children are young and impressionable. I mean, these children writing Zena, they are not even the Gen Zs. They are the Alpha generation. They are much more brilliant and intelligent, more than even the Gen Zs. Okay? They may not be tough mentally as the X generation and the Gen Z, but they are very intelligent. They were born to the information age. So they are soaked in the whole parameter of what we are talking about. Now, even their capacity to absorb stress is very weak. Like you can see, someone just took her life. You understand? So we must understand the variables and the condition.
So don't you think that's the reason? Because don't you think that's the reason Jamb is trying to be a protectionist organization, even if that's not what they're supposed to be? We know Nigerian parents, once you give that leeway for students under age to sit for exams, Pastor Vance Ufeli, you will agree with me that Nigerian parents will literally allow their 13-year-old child who is groomed from an external center to go sit for Jamb. So don't you think that is equally?
That is why if you put a benchmark on this, on the age, okay, put a benchmark on the age, put it in the portal such that if you are not up to the age, you will not be able to register. So you ward that one off.
Okay.
You understand? You ward it off. When you ward it off, you now admit to the exam those who are of the age you want. Okay? You can bring a legislation, go through the House, let them pass a law to that effect if you think you are going to be challenged, if you do it by policy. Then let's have a particular age so that they will know. Not that you open it to all and sundry. Then later, midway, you will now say this particular set will not have result, or this set will have so score before they can see result. Then these other ones will have. That's discrimination. The Constitution forbids it. You understand? And these children, they are young and impressionable. Their country should not disappoint them at that age. I mean, at least the country should be able to deliver on promises. At least that's the least we can do for them, so that they too can access tertiary education and be confident of themselves and embrace the future and do whatever it is they want to, so that they'll be able to compete with their peers all over the world. But if you have, and let us also know that, let us also state that a child's score in Jamb or whatsoever exam does not really mean that that is what is required to be productive thereafter or whatsoever it is. It is just to measure how prepared a child is. You understand? So this thing about you must score 290, you must score 350 before you can get admission into the university. These conversations are useless. Somebody can score 190, get into university, and still understand and do better than those who scored, because their temperaments are different. The idea should not be about the score. The idea should be about educating the masses, the society. Whichever way the score is, you should put it in a way that you are able to admit as many as possible. And then let the university system now filter them. The ones that are not able to meet up can go for vocational studies or whatsoever it is. So, but this is our idea of a 380. Some people want to score 400 over 400. Yeah? It doesn't change, doesn't make any difference. That's what I think. It doesn't make any difference, because that is not a true test of knowledge. Examination cannot be the true test of knowledge, because we've seen situations where those people who had first class, who had different kind of results, in the workplace, they are not able to measure up. And we've seen those who are lower degrees in the workplace, they do better. So we should look at the individual peculiarities. I mean, putting a blanket figure for everybody in everything we do when people have different temperaments shows that we really don't know what we're doing. We're qualifying people on the same, everybody should be on one kind of score
All sides
range.
fits all.
No, it's not done.
Very bad. Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, I want to ask you this. There are lots of factors, just like Barrister Vance did say. The pressure for these students, for the candidates, is immense. The only country in the world where we've seen students kill themselves, literally because of failing exams, is India. In fact, it is a pandemic in India right now. I'd love to ask you this. The pressure from parents, don't you think this is equally very instrumental? Because every parent desires to see their child become immaculate when it comes to education and all that. So how do you think parents can help students to understand, number one, that you need to get to the right age before getting to sit for exams? Then secondly, do not base your whatever on the results that you hope to get.
You see, if we have our law working the way it should work, nobody will want to take their child or children to do exam before the age that is required. But because they know the system is not working. If you have a benchmark that for you to write Jamb, you must be 15. Just like Evan said, once you are doing your registration and you are below 15, it will not accept you. Then that is sorted. But because we know that in Nigeria, everything has a way. You must have a way. Once you are in one or two things or people, your own must be different and you must change it for you. So if you are aware that even if your child decides to graduate from the primary school at the age of 7, he goes nowhere. You will not rush him to do anything, because you know whether you rush or not, he will still attain that age before moving forward. So you will be patient to allow him go through the system. Then because we know the system it can be compromised, they want to rush it. And you see today now, we make more. Some people who does that do it just basically. Some parents is just for competition. That my child is this, my child is that. That he has gone from age 5. He became he enter university or he enter primary school or he enter secondary school. Some people are for that. Some don't do it for. Some are just competing. In fact, I see parents. I hear that some parents will even go and bribe schools to make sure that students that people or their children are getting good scores. Yeah. The foundation is getting bad in that regard. So the parents and the teachers and the schools are not left out in the blame. You see, especially in our public institution, I pity people in primary schools. Because I see some of the people we call teachers in primary schools. Some of them are not even qualified to be class to be prep master to be what how do you say, to be I don't know how to qualify it. They're not even qualified to be appointed as teacher because they don't even know it. They're not even fit to be there. So you see this kind of people in primary school because it's not a political game. They use it as political compensation. Whether you are qualified or not, whether you are good, once you know you belong to one party or you know one political leader, you can get appointment in fact, in my state now, teaching job is now the major compensation for political followers, whether you are good in it or not. Once you are a member of their party, they will open Subeb portal, say they are recruiting, and they will recruit almost everybody, whether you are qualified or not, once you are in their category. So those are the issues. And the emphasis on the certificate is also an issue. We emphasize more on certificate in this rather than what you can do. And just like Evan said, I'm also one of those people who don't believe that examination is the best test of knowledge. I've been saying it because I have so many examples. I know people who can deliver well when speaking, but when it comes to writing, they can't perform. Let me give an example. When I was at university, year 1, we call it. There's a course called English 115. It's like a literature. I hate literature. I won't lie to you. I have never in my life finished one novel. I have never, as I speak. In fact, if I see it today, if I carry novel, I will say, I have one law book that I have not read. Why will I be reading this? So I'll drop it. So what I'm saying is that course at that time when we are supposed to do it, that course is a borrow course, and we do that course with the English department. A day to our exam, a friend called me and said they are doing tutorial somewhere that we should go and attend. I don't read it the night. That day I followed my friend. We went there. The tutorial was in the night. and I think they finished around 12 that day. So I was there. A guy was giving us all the story, or teaching us all the things. In fact, I was looking at, am I going to do this exam tomorrow? Because I look like I was in different place, and I don't even know anything they are saying. Everything they were discussing is not known to me, because I was seeing myself as unprepared. Fortunately and unfortunately for me and for the other guy, the guy that was the one pushing us through in the morning was sitting beside me at the exam hall. Because that day when we left, don't let me forget, when we left that day, I couldn't sleep. I have to go and carry my book again. Start rushing, doing the last rush reading. At the exam center, the guy was sitting beside me. Do you know I have finished my 3 questions, 3 out of 4 questions? The guy was sitting on 1 page. He was sitting on 1 page, doing like this. I was even asking, do you want to copy my notes? And he was the one leading us through, and he was doing it well. But at the exam center, he couldn't write. I don't know what happened. He scored D, I scored B. That is the point I'm making. So it's exam sometimes is not a true test. I know people, lawyers, senior lawyers, respected lawyers who have done well, that came out at law school and said university with 3rd class. They were one of the best today. Some of them was the best when he was alive. So today, we have seen people who have scored 1st class. They are not doing well. We have seen people with pass that will be doing well. So we should emphasize the issue of what you score, and there should be a way to test you, to know whether you have the capacity or you have the knowledge to absorb what they want to teach you, and find a way for you to get. If you can't study law, you can study anything else, so that they will push you to that place. What we should create is an enabling environment where we have enough university to cater for the needs of our students, so that there won't be screening. Because all this, you must score 330, you must score 5, it's to screen and reduce the number. That's just the truth. It's just to reduce the number. If you have the capacity to accommodate everybody, it will reduce. Only few people will not get admission. The issue of you must score 500 or 400 over 400 will not arise again. They will even say, come and score 150. When you get to the school, they will screen you well. When in the exam, if you can't cope, the school will advise you to withdraw. But because our system is not working well, those are the issues. So for me, we need to look at all these issues. Look at our system, look at the enabling environment, create an enabling environment where enough accommodation will be created for people to get accommodation into universities. That will reduce pressure of a number of scores you must get. Because it's unfortunate that the girl is dead, but I don't think that should be the way out. If you fail today, you can pass tomorrow.
Very true.
We have had the former president has contested how many times that he failed. President Buhari contested like election for 4 or 5 times. He later passed thereafter. So there are some people who have done Jamb 3, 4, 5 times, and today they are multi-billionaire after going to school. So if you don't get it today, you can get it tomorrow. Don't kill yourself. It's possible. Just believe in yourself.
Very true. Professor Ufeli, just before we wind up for today, there are other issues, very salient issues that we're not talking about here. And one of them is technological acceptance, adoption, and taking advantage of them. The CBT, of course, is wholly a computer-based exams. But you will agree with me, there are some villages in Gualamage in Bauchi State, some villages in Omoaka in Imo State, that do not have electricity. The last time they've seen electricity is 6 months back. And there are students there, schooling in secondary schools, that are expected to sit for CBT. Now, how do you think it's even possible for us to adopt a technology that we know doesn't have an overwhelming acceptance by everyone? So do you think we should still keep the CBT or leave it open for anyone who feels he can attend it or attempt through a CBT and others to just do their manual thing? And
I think we should still have the paper base for the very vulnerable. Let me tell you, you see those villages you mentioned, in some of those villages you have handicapped people who are taking the exam. They are not just cut off from civilization. They are in that village, their problem is double. 1, they are out of civilization. 2, they are handicaps. Okay, they are not able people, they are disabled. So how do you manage those kind of situations, those people?
They are PWD. PWD.
So so we need to retain that paper base, even if it's just at the margin, okay, in those remote areas. We need to retain it so that you can that is part of the discrimination I'm talking about. Because in election and electioneering, we call it disenfranchisement. You understand? These persons are discriminated against, or provisions are not made for them in the exams. Okay? You are supposed to have provisions for everybody. But it looks like today, what you have is just, I still believe that you should not subject everyone to that system. And that is part of what we are saying, that Jamb cannot single-handedly make policies to coordinate this exam. They cannot. They have to invite the public. This is where we are going to. What do you think about it? The public input is very important. Even in National Assembly, when they are making laws, they used to invite the public. Let alone Jamb, you are coming up with a policy, you must make provision for public hearing. And it is in that public hearing that you will get the best of outcomes. You will get the best of, of evaluation from the other end. So they should incorporate it into whatever it is they are doing. They are serving the nation. The objective is to serve the nation in that capacity, not to generate money per se, or not to become, the good man or the most righteous man in the country. The objective is not served for this last exam. And so that exam must be set aside. Whatever it is the court want to do about it, whether cancellation, whether re-evaluation, whether whatever orders should be made, whether this exam should not be rigged against the students with all that happened. Sometimes people are in centers where they are doing exam, the computer system are breaking down midway.
Yeah, because the young lady, they said she was logged out twice.
She was logged out twice.
Yes.
And then you are using it against them as if you conducted the exam under a merit condition. So, the country is all ours. We should decide what happened in the country. It shouldn't be that way. And coupled with the fact that these children are young, they are very young. You shouldn't be pouring this at them at this age. So let them have their way. Let them, do the exam, conduct another exam. See, if you have the capacity to remit billions to the federal government, it costs nothing to. You are not printing papers. You are not spending anything really. You are not. It's online.
Yes.
So if you were doing it in the past, where you have to go and print, and all do all that, and press, and logistics, and the centers are there already. So just go back, reset the questions, make sure you bring them under a better condition. Don't ask them to come by 6 a.m. and all that. That's nonsense. When you are registering students, register them close to where they, where they reside and the rest of it. The technology that will do that is within. When a person chooses a state and put his address, it should be automated. You should put him in a school close to that address. The AI can read the parameters, the measurements, how many meters it takes from. So there are softwares that can actually fix them close to where they live, no matter, as long as they've chosen a state and a city. The software will bring them into one of the centers within the area where they live. So that is what we need to do. If their system is not upgraded, they should go and upgrade the software. Get better software, get better technology to do this test, and let's stop this thing we're doing.
Very, very true. Barrister, just before I equally let you go in 60 seconds, if you may. Nigeria today, we have leaders slowly but surely converting polytechnics to universities, converting colleges of education to universities. And with that, we have so many candidates hoping to get into universities and not believing or understanding that their dexterity might be with polytechnics or colleges of education. So do you think the government is further worsening the situation by making everyone feel or get the impression that if you don't go to a university, then you've not gone to school at all?
Exactly, that is the image they are creating. They are playing to the gallery and playing politics with it. I don't see why the university you have already on ground, you are not able to even cater for it. You are not able to even provide what they need. The polytechnic that you have that is being managed for people who are, you see, we have bastardized all the system. You call a place a polytechnic, and you see them offering a course like a law. You see them do courses that are not even related to technology, that is not supposed to be part of it, and that's what you see. So you see, we are playing. The government is playing to the gallery, and they play policies to everything. I don't see why that should be happening. What we need is to upgrade the system on ground and allow for more development in our education, and that would naming, creating more universities, renaming or naming or whatever will not solve the problem. You can't have it's just like our prison center where it has been converted from prison to correctional center without even improving any room in that center. So it doesn't change anything. It's just a mere name change, as far as I'm concerned. It's worsening the situation. It will worsen the situation. I will not help it. Let me, before I go, let me tell my brother that look, they spend money a bit, so that they won't say we don't know what we're saying. Those centers are not owned by them. They rent it, and they will pay the owners of the centers. But what they even pay the owner of the center are not enough, because I've once been a shareholder of a CBT center, and you see at that time when they started, in fact that was when they started earlier, they pay 7 naira per student to the center. Really? The centers are complaining. Wow. Yet the minister is remitting money. The registrar is remitting money to the federal government, and the centers are saying the money you are paying us is not even enough to survive to make us stay in the business. He said they will not change it, that will not add to it. Yet he's returning money to the federal government in the name of we have made excess. Those who are supposed to create the center are not being well paid, so as to be able to upgrade their system, so as to upgrade whatever they have on ground, to have a free and fair or atmosphere for students to survive. Yet it's not done. So they don't pay enough for those who are even rendering the service for them. And that's my call again. The Jamb registrar should not focus on getting money to remit, but focus on this, ensuring that we have an adequate and a viable system on ground.
Very, very true. And we can't say anything further than this. And just to let you know, unfortunately, very sadly, Miss Faith Temilenyi, just after she died, 30 minutes after, she got a message from Jamb saying that she's been offered a provisional admission to a university she had applied for. And one would say, isn't this medicine after death? What use is death to Lady Faith at this point? It's actually very, very bad. And we would just hope that this would change. I would love to believe, Barrister Ufeli, that possibly Jamb would learn its lessons. Yes. Don't you think so?
Yes,
they would. Yes. They would learn.
We have to lend our voices.
Yes, very true. Thank you so very much, gentlemen, for being here. We truly do appreciate you both.
My pleasure.
All right, that's just about the time we have. We'd love to say thank you to you for making this a complete package. Please do well to visit us if you may. You can always find us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Igwebike. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow, bright and early. Bye-bye.